Hello again, everybody. This is Ed, back with another episode of Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. So I'm doing a review today for book Guitar with Wings, a photographic memoir by Lawrence Juber, right here. And we'll go to some pictures in a moment. Sort of winging it a little bit with this one, pun very much intended. So this was released in 2014, and a little bit of story behind this book before I go into some of the pictures and the voiceover that you're going to hear. Guitar with Wings, I bought it off the Fest for Beatles fans website. So I got that probably after the Chicago Virtual Fest, I want to say last year, when I was just watching that and on that Zoom event as well. Obviously, this past Fest, just this past weekend, the 2022 Virtual Fest in my case, I know it was the first real fest in New York and New Jersey in about, 2 years, as I think I've seen some folks say, a little over 2 years at this point. Again, as I said before, Lawrence Juber, I think, is in a class by himself with his musicianship. And Paul's played with a lot of good company, as I've reviewed before. So I've had this book for a little bit. Again, I want to give some of my thoughts as I'm going through some of the photos. It's only a little tiny fraction of the photos that are contained within the book. So we'll delve into that. And then afterwards, after that portion, I'll go ahead and come back, kind of offer some final thoughts and everything like that. So without further ado, here we go with a little journey through Guitar with Wings, a photographic memoir by Lawrence Juber. I'll see everybody on the other side. Okay, everybody, so here we are looking at photos of the book. Now, of course, as we can see, this is kind of the first photo, according to the book. This is the first photo of Lawrence arriving at the first Wings session. Just a little bit of background real quick. Of course, it goes through his childhood, some session work prior to Wings that he did. And he appears on the video for I've Had Enough from London Town. He does not appear on the track, however. He would actually start to work on some tracks for the then upcoming 1979 album, Back to the Egg. This was taken sometime in 1978. We can see from the photo, just looking very groovy with a leather jacket and, walking up the streets of London, driving up rather, and there we go. He's ready for session work. So again, he was introduced to Paul through Denny Laine through Wings. So that's kind of how all the connections go within the band. Just really cool to kind of see this very first photo. He's arriving. He's probably not sure what to expect, but hey, the chance to play with Paul McCartney, that's just a chance that not a lot of people usually get at all. And here's a good shot. This shot right here, pretty sure it's from the Back to the Egg era, or it could be just a little bit before. It's a cropped photo, because there's a couple other people within the photo itself. But I just really like this. This is also on the front of the book, obviously. So you just got Paul and Lawrence jamming with the rest of the members of Wings. A nice outdoor photo. I want to say it was taken at the castle that they recorded part of the album at. Yep, an actual medieval castle called Lymph Castle, I think is how it's pronounced. If anybody has any further information in the comments, please let me know, because I could be getting the pronunciation totally wrong. But just, again, looking very cool. They're jamming along, rehearsing some stuff, definitely getting things together. He's getting integrated into the band, also with Steve Hawley, which we're going to get to in a second, because there's a nice shot coming up of the entire band here. And that's about it. Just linger on the photo for a second. One of my favorite shots right here. This is from the Good Night Tonight promo video. Basically, they had one portion of the video where they're wearing modern clothes like this, and the other portion they're wearing 1920s clothes, kind of going back and forth in the video. Left to right, you've got Lawrence Juber, you've got Denny Laine in the middle, Linda McCartney, Paul McCartney, of course, and on drums, Steve Hawley. Again, just a very underrated incarnation of Wings. I kind of wish they could have lasted a little bit longer. Back to the Egg, no secret here, it's my favorite Wings album. It gets a lot of play. It's got a good rocking edge to it, really. Now, Steve Hawley, just a real quick little bit of trivia about him. He would go on to star in the video for one of Julian Lennon's songs. I think Too Late for Goodbyes is the song. But just a very nice shot. Also very, very suitable for framing. Great 1979 track. Now here we skip ahead to about July of 1980. Paul and Ringo are working on Ringo's album to be released in 1981 called Stop and Smell the Roses. The recording sessions are held in France, but Lawrence gets to play with both Paul and Ringo, which is really cool. And of course we see Linda in the pictures above. You just see that Ringo's just there puffing away at a cigarette. At least we think it's a cigarette, but more than likely. But Paul was, helping out again on some tracks for Ringo. George would help out separately on the album as well. But I mean, the fact that Lawrence gets to play with Ringo as well as Paul, I mean, how lucky can you be? And these are just some really wonderful shots too. Again, I've never seen these before purchasing this book. If there's ever another reissue of the album, these should definitely be included in it. And this is just a very nice photo. This is Hope Juber, pretty much around the time they met. This is right after Wings dissolved, actually. Again, just a really wonderful photo. She actually tells a great story of how they both met as well. I'm pretty certain that Hope was there at the fest as well, next to Lawrence, when everybody was singing Hey Jude at the end of the last night, kind of closing down the fest for Beatles fans. Again, it's kind of a tradition. She's pretty much up there as well. They kind of segued from Hey Jude into a little snippet of Give Peace a Chance. So everybody's up on stage just jamming along. Really wonderful moment. I would love to meet her as well. I know both her and Lawrence. I've heard are very wonderful people, so I'd love to be able to have a conversation with both of them. Again, hopefully as I'm getting this book autographed at some point at a future fest in person. Now we go a little further in the timeline. This is circa 1986. Yep, Lawrence also got to jam with George Harrison, which is really cool. Lawrence was with George for one of the Shanghai Surprise sessions, I think, for part of the album. Shanghai Surprise, for those not familiar with it, 1986 album starring Sean Penn and Madonna that George produced. The movie didn't do super great commercially in the United States. Not a bad soundtrack, though, or at least a couple of the songs I've heard that George sings lead on. This is probably within a few weeks after the session that Lawrence was supposed to play on. He was actually playing just right after the birth of his daughter, who's right in the picture there. So again, they're just having a great time with George. I mean, he's gotten to jam with 3 of the Beatles. It's a shame he never got to meet John, but life being what it is, of course. And here is a 1993 mini reunion. I want to say this is either on Paul's tour from 1993, or more likely there was a some sort of environmental benefit concert. I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but I think both Paul and Ringo played at that benefit, probably mid to late 93. I want to say in England. And again, if I'm getting it wrong, folks, please feel free to correct me. I'm always happy with comments and feedback. But this is just a really cool photo. I mean, they're both there in the picture, having a good time reuniting, working on their 90s mullets. And if you've seen pictures of me lately, I'm working on my 90s mullet too. But just a really nice photo there. I really glad that they kind of all kept in touch. And as I understand it, they still all keep in touch as well, which is really nice to see. Beatles family is a big family. Another nice photo, this is probably around the same time. So you've got Lawrence on the left, you've got Steve Hawley in the middle, and you've got Denny Lane at the end. Denny was with Wings the longest. He was with them from 1971 to 1981. So him, Paul, and Linda were the 3 constants in the band, while other folks kind of came and went through different lineups during that whole 10-year period. But as I explained before, the Beatles family, it's a nice big family full of love. I mean, a lot of people seem to really get along, swapping stories. I know the three of them have played at a couple of events since then, a couple of fests, I believe, and kind of impromptu concerts. Paul hasn't joined them, sadly, because for Paul it wouldn't be the same without Linda, and I can certainly understand that, but I'd love to see these three guys in concert too. I'm led to believe they sound really good together. Two different versions of Wings playing together. And I couldn't help but include this as well. So you've got, let me see, according to the caption here, it looks like Hope is all the way on the right, Lawrence's wife. A couple other members of the band, it's the Housewives. And yeah, you recognize her in the middle. That's Oprah Winfrey, circa 1980-something. So again, it just proves they've been in pretty high company themselves as well. I know Oprah's been a very big Beatles fan. She had Paul on her show back in 1997 when he was promoting Flaming Pie. And I can't quite figure out the date of this again. If the show was nationally syndicated about 1986 or so, I'd probably put this anywhere between like 1986 and 1990, just judging by the look of everybody here, roughly. But if anybody knows in the comments, again, feel free to fill me in. That's that's great. But yeah, and Paul and Oprah have kind of hung out over the years as well. They're kind of in that very high flying social circle, as it were. And that's just about it. I hope everybody enjoyed this little walk through the book. All right, go ahead and grab a copy. And I'm back, everybody. So, just going over the final thoughts on the book. Again, I would consider this an essential book to pick up, especially if you're a fan of, Lawrence Juber, if you're a fan of the last incarnation of Wings, which I happen to be a fan of, between 1979 to 1981. In the book, you get a nice foreword by Denny Lane. You get so much more than what I was able to go through with the pictures. You certainly get recollections of different songs that he worked on at the time, not only for Back to the Egg, but a couple of other projects with both Paul and Ringo, of course, and some kind of solo stuff. You do get a discography of his works, at least up until 2014, when the book was released initially. There's also a nice little story about how Lawrence met Hope Juber, his wife. Of course, talks about the birth of their daughters as well. Some interesting stories with that. I think if you pick this up, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a book I've previously done a review for, which is Little Wing by Paul Sally, about Jimmy McCulloch. So if you pick up that previous book, Little Wing, about Jimmy McCulloch, and this book, Guitar with Wings, chronicling the time with Lawrence Juber's time with Wings, I think you've got a very good library. What it does is it offers some unique insight. He goes into unreleased recordings. He goes into areas that, quite frankly, Wingspan did not go into upon its initial release. As much as I enjoy the project, as much as I enjoy that documentary, which I would also still recommend, but as much as I enjoy that documentary itself, as much as I enjoy the compilation itself, which is very nice to have. Again, I really feel that this fills in some missing gaps. That from Lawrence's perspective, and also, the other previous book from from Jimmy's perspective. So again, Paul is still the main character in both of these stories. It's Wings, it's his band, of course, but you're just getting that different perspective from, in this case with Lawrence, being able to still tell the story. Again, during the fest, he was absolutely shredding it on guitar. I was just absolutely amazed, blown away. I'm always blown away whenever I hear him playing, but especially to see him playing on those tracks. I don't think I mentioned some of them in the last review. I know Rockestra was one, but his vocals on Johnny Be Good. I was actually very surprised. I'd never heard him sing before. Hearing Johnny Be Good, I think that was on the Saturday night of the fest, for the virtual fest. And again, folks, if I'm getting anything wrong, please feel free to leave some comments, of course, memory being almost full, to use a Paul album title there. But, hearing him singing on Johnny Be Good was just like, wow, he's got a good set of pipes, So again, I just highly recommend this book. It's well worth the time and investment to add this to your Wings library, your Beatles library, if you want to learn more about that particular time period. And even going a little bit further after 1981, and of course, those 1993 photos that I referred to as well. That was just kind of nice to see, and just the various projects he's done and everything. Lawrence, I hope that I do get to meet you at some point if you ever happen to watch this. I'm hoping at the next in-person Beatle Fest that he's there. My ultimate goal would be to get this autographed by him. That would just be so cool to be able to add that to an already amazing book. So that's about it. If everybody's enjoying these videos, please just make sure to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much to the new subscribers. You're absolutely blowing me away by all these new subscribers being added. I'm very happy about that. And for the continuing subscribers, the ones who've been there from the beginning, continuing to watch, thank you all. I'm always appreciative. I'm always thankful. I'll see everybody in the next review, and until then, everybody just stay safe out there and keep rocking on. I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.